The rain had been falling since morning, the kind that seeps into your bones and makes the whole city feel tired. People hurried past with their heads down, coats pulled tight, eyes fixed on their destinations. No one wanted to look at anyone else. No one wanted to feel anything. She was just like them. Late, cold, thinking about bills, deadlines, and a life that never seemed to slow down enough to breathe. Her shoes were damp, her phone battery almost dead, and her mind was already rehearsing apologies for being late to work again. That was when she saw him. He was sitting on the edge of the sidewalk near the subway entrance, wrapped in a thin, torn blanket that did nothing to protect him from the rain. His beard was untrimmed, his clothes stained and heavy with water. A small cardboard sign lay beside him, its words barely readable, asking for help. Most people stepped around him as if he were invisible. Some glanced for a second, then looked away, uncomfortable with what they saw. She almost did the same. She took a step forward, then another. This city taught you to keep moving. To mind your own business. To protect yourself from stories that were too heavy to carry. But something made her stop. Maybe it was the way his hands trembled as he tried to keep the blanket closed. Maybe it was the look in his eyes, not begging, not angry, just tired. Or maybe it was the quiet thought that crossed her mind, the one that asked what kind of person she was becoming. She turned back. She didn't have much. Her wallet held just enough for the week. Rent was due. Life was already hard. Still, she knelt down, ignoring the rain soaking through her clothes. She offered him the sandwich she had packed for lunch and the small amount of cash she could spare. When he looked up at her, surprised, she smiled and said it was nothing. She asked if he was all right. A simple question, but one no one had asked him in a long time. He tried to speak, his voice rough and broken. He thanked her again and again, as if kindness were something rare and fragile. She told him to take care and stood up, already feeling embarrassed for the tears threatening to fall. She walked away before he could say more, blending back into the crowd. By the end of the day, she had almost forgotten the encounter. Life moved on the way it always did. Days turned into months, months into years. She worked hard, struggled harder, and learned how to survive in a world that rarely slowed down. There were setbacks. There were nights she wondered if kindness even mattered anymore. Still, she held on to something quiet inside her, a belief she couldn't explain but refused to let go of. Then came the interview. The building was massive, all glass and steel, reflecting the sky like it belonged to a different world. She had dreamed of working here for years. This job could change everything. As she waited in the lobby, hands clasped tightly to keep from shaking, she reminded herself to breathe. This was her chance. She was called upstairs and led into a conference room. The door opened, and several executives walked in. Suits, confident steps, polite smiles. Then her eyes landed on him. For a moment, the room disappeared. He was clean-shaven now, wearing a tailored suit, his posture straight and commanding. His eyes were sharp, focused, alive. But she knew those eyes. She had seen them before, under rain and exhaustion, from the ground level of a city that had forgotten him. He looked at her and froze. There was a flicker of recognition, quick but unmistakable. The room went quiet as introductions were made. He was the final decision maker. The one whose word mattered most. The interview began, but her heart was pounding too loud to hear her own thoughts. She answered questions on instinct. Her voice steady even though her hands trembled. She avoided his gaze, afraid that if she looked too long, the memory would overwhelm her. When it ended, she thanked them and stood to leave, already preparing herself for disappointment. Just before she reached the door, his voice stopped her. He asked her to wait. The others filed out, leaving them alone. The silence felt heavy, thick with unspoken memories. He stood and walked toward her slowly, as if afraid she might disappear. He told her he remembered that day. The rain, the sandwich, the way she had looked at him like he mattered. He told her that at his lowest point, when the world treated him like he didn't exist, her kindness reminded him that he was still human. That single moment had pushed him to accept help, to rebuild, to fight his way back to the life he once had. She listened, tears falling freely now. He smiled gently and told her something she would never forget. He said that success teaches you many things, but failure teaches you who saves you when you are drowning. He said he never forgot her face. Never forgot her voice. Never forgot the fact that she gave without expecting anything in return. She thought that was the end of the story. She was wrong. A week later, she received the call. She got the job, not out of pity, not out of gratitude, because she was qualified, because she had earned it, but also because the person making the decision knew the kind of heart she carried. On her first day, as she walked into the office that would now shape her future, she felt something deep and unshakable. A quiet understanding that the smallest choices, the ones no one applauds, can echo louder than we ever imagine. One act of kindness had changed everything. Not just his life, hers too.